John, we were discussing our concern that so many young people, boys, want to play with toy weapons, fighting and contending with each other. This seems to be almost a necessity amongst boys because of peer group pressure, however much we might not want to give them toy weapons. How can we deal with this situation, and is this creating a problem for them in the future? Tom, it creates a great difficulty in future. There is on your planet Earth the illusion that if they are permitted to play out that aggression by attacking each other, then it removes aggression. That is not true, it creates more. You are the guardians of your youth, you must speak. Create ways and means through motion and exercise, and in creating games that have two aims, competitive with others and competitive with self. Create new ways and new means, and involve humankind's youth, and organize parents against weaponry. When you force those who create weaponry to not create business through it, another means will be found. You must understand the energies that are created with weaponry, yes. You may be forced by the group pressure of youth to give in. John, forced by peer pressure to give in, yes, that's what happened with us. Tom, what is important is the organization of small groups of parents against weaponry. Make your children proud that they do not need it. That they have other means of expression. Each of you has returned to this planet at this time for the betterment of planet Earth. Utilize who you are in your returning. Know that you have access to all knowledge. Do not limit yourself in what you can attain. Yes. Mickey, we were discussing relationships this morning, about each person being ultimately responsible for their experience, and about the possibility of one person being a victim of the other. Could you comment on that? Tom, there is in your world a limited understanding of the overall view. It is possible for both people to be victims. Yes. Mickey, so that means that one is not ultimately responsible for one's own experience. Tom, not in all issues. There are situations in which one is drawn into a pattern of another. Sometimes it is possible to clear this pattern through working with each other's growth. Sometimes it is not possible because the other is not able to become clear at that time. Each soul has to develop in its own way through learning and evolution. There are times when there is absolute victimization by others, as it is possible also for one to create victimization. John, yes. Is it true that, once you realize you are in somebody else's energy, that you then do regain your responsibility, because you then have the awareness, choice and ability to remove yourself? Tom, not always. If you are in someone else's blueprint, and their energy touches you on the periphery, it is easier to extricate yourself, but take an octopus, if it wraps its tentacles around you then you have a greater struggle to remove yourself, or to stop being eaten up. Recognizing the problem does not help at that point, for it is too late, too big. Mickey, so is there any solution to it, not to be victimized? Tom, in your planetary evolution there are stages as well as blueprints of life. We will take a tribe that you might call barbaric. In their state they victimize and are victimized because they live in a small framework, they do not understand the wider reality. It is only by experience and education that they extend and expand beyond it. The more aware you become, the less tendency you have to fall into the arms of an octopus. In other words, don't take on anything or anyone you know you do not have the strength to pull away from. Or it has less significance because your ego is not so caught up in it, in the octopus arms of yourself or another. Mickey, it also seems that people who are very sensitive, psychically receptive, or open to others or other energies are more vulnerable than others. Is there any advice to such people, for them to be protected? Tom, yes. Upon waking each morning ask for a protection of light surrounding you, to keep maintaining balance, and constantly check on your reactions within, whose reality you exist within. Can you be involved physically with other beings and not hurt them? Remember that you must have compassion, you must have harmony, you must have understanding, but at all times you must detach from the work. We will go one step beyond and explain if you wish. In your physical world, in your physical desires and your emotional exchanges, can you in your souls and hearts become involved in a physical relationship when you are involved in the work of consciousness? And if that person you are involved with is also involved in the work, can you in honesty say that when you go into the work you will be completely separate and objective when you meet a conflict of priority between the work and your relationship? And can you be firm in your analysis of the situation? Can you say no, in this matter I believe you are incorrect, or will that physical relationship create a problem? Will you bend towards one side or another because of your physical relationship? Can you explain to your partner that, when you enter the portals of our world, that you must then be cut off from that physical being and act with detachment, completely objective and honest? You do not need to answer these questions to us, but to yourself. Guest, if one could not detach, leave that kind of relationship behind when necessary, does that mean it would contaminate our inner work with your world? Is that what the end result is? Tom, it would contaminate the work, but not the relationship with us. Remember, in your physical world, people around you do not always understand who you are, and perhaps may never truly know who you are, but at times, in their own way, without meaning to, they will try to control you. And remember, because they might be in the world, this is their priority, so they may create problems for you. Do you understand fully? Guest, I think I do. Tom, we must have complete clarification. You must not say you know, and later not know. Guest, well, if I could paraphrase it, the work is to be detached from any other relationship we have outside of that work. Tom, that is not 100%. I will give you an analogy. We will put you in a situation, you have a business together, and the business is separated from your household. One evening you spend the time together, and you are very loving, very close and in complete balance and harmony in your physical life. In your morning time the two of you go to your business. When you enter that business, can you then detach from your partnership relationship? If your mate does something wrong in that business, or if your mate is not completely detached, or if someone comes into that business, and your mate does not handle the situation as it should be handled, on whose side do you go? Do you go on your customer's side or on your mate's side? Can you detach? Can your mate understand that in your correcting the mate, it was for the business and it was not personal? They say I am not making myself clear to you. Guest, I think we understand that very well, yes. Tom, can you not manipulate your mate, and can your mate not manipulate you? That is what we are trying to say. To the detriment of the work or your business. This is what you have to deal with. Can you stand firm and say you are wrong? Or will you weaken? Do you see? Guest, total objectivity and total honesty in these situations. Tom, will it then create a problem in your evening? Guest, laughing, yes, it will. So you can't get into this unless your mate is carefully chosen beforehand. Tom, will your mate try to then run your business? All areas you must investigate. Will your mate truly know better than you, or will your mate think that they know better than you? Guest, well, can you comment on whether there is any purpose or validity to the institution of marriage on this planet at this time, during this period? Tom, you speak of a marriage that is a legal contract according to the terms of the nation of your existence. A oneness is a oneness. If it is an identifiable structure to bring forth to those in your vicinity, to show to them that there is solidarity and oneness, marriage has value. However, many pairs of people are one without a legal contract, and at this time they tend to be more at one in their hearts than those who are bound by contract. Guest/2, my wife is now going to separate from me. How can I make her going away easier, for us both, and especially what can I do to let the least harm come to our children? Tom, remove all past emotion as much as is feasible within you. Approach all from the center of your heart. Be in gentleness, be in confidence with yourself, but be in loving kindness and sincerity. In every world, when there is separation from one who has been close, there is also great pain to many. For your children, always be in truth, in readiness to share yourself, to accept responsibility for them. Be a strength to them, but always in truth. Listen within and follow that. If you wish, call for help. Humankind was not meant to be alone. Humankind has come to learn to merge the male and the female, the positive and the negative, the yang and yin, and then it becomes one. We have difficulty understanding your nature. We are being educated by others in the ways of you beings. It is very difficult for us to understand your physical nature. We understand your emotional and your intellectual nature, but it is very difficult for us to understand your physical ways. We are aware of the problems that you are having on planet Earth with the sexuality of the physical. We cannot remove this people must remove from themselves, or refine it. Andrew, yes, I guess we'll all have to work at it and do the best we can. Is there anyone who does understand the physical of humans, since it was designed and created by an intelligence? Tom, are you referring to one of us? Andrew, yes, somewhere in your consortium there must be those who understand it. Tom, there are those amongst us that understand. I do not understand that emotion, so I will relate it in the manner that has been given to me. In regard to your physical bodies, the sexual desires you have, and we are speaking now in terms of your physical reproductive areas, these are similar to a safety valve. When you become involved in awakening, and this type of work of service, this is activated to a degree. If the being is not able to raise the vibration, it becomes like a furnace that is stoked, and the furnace must have a safety valve. The refined way of doing this would be to raise the energy level, or to work off steam in your way. Within all of you there is a pipeline, and if the energy level is not funneled upward so the steam can be released properly, it then becomes a hot burning furnace. The only release then is sexuality. I do not understand the emotion, it does not make sense to me. Andrew, the emotion is a kind of feedback loop. If there is heat, it wants more heat. Tom, as they are explaining to me, there is nothing wrong with this emotion, but if you let off too much steam, then it dissipates the energy of that furnace, and it no longer supplies and functions as it should. This is the problem in your physical world. There is too much involvement in the releasing of energy, rather than refining energy. It is important for this refining to take place. But they are telling me if you eat too much you will get sick. I understand not. Andrew, yes, if we eat too much we get what is called indigestion, we cannot handle the load, and I take it this refers analogically to this physical desire. Tom, this is true. If you eat too much, you dissipate energy gained from eating. If you act too much you dissipate the energy of action. Energy is important, it must not be dissipated and thrown into the ether, it must be channeled properly. We also would like you to know that there is nothing wrong with your physical relationships. It is when they become the central issue of your being that the energy is dissipated. Charles, masturbation, is it a normal form of behavior, or shouldn't it be at all? Tom, it is in your world of physicalness because of the desire and genetic factors within the human body that has been generated down through generations. We have no objection to masturbation, for it was a form of masturbation that seeded the earth. But it spills what is of great importance to us. We do not object to the youth if it releases them of pressure within their physicalness, but in older people, and those who work in service with us, it can be a wastage of energies, which may be utilized otherwise. When it is not utilized in equality or blending of etherics with one of the other gender, it is not in its best essence. But if it would bring to you the releasing of pressure, then we have not objection, yes. Mickey, I know we are not supposed to kill. But when a female is receiving a baby which she does not want to receive, till which month after conception is she allowed to terminate the small one's gestation? Tom, we wish for you to know that there will be no extinguishing of a life that has a right to live. That is governed by the universe. When we say a right to live, we mean a soul that chose to come back to serve, or chose to come for the lesson that it needs. Those that are stopped before their birth, in the great majority, are willful spirits that need a longer time to exist in the before-birth state, before their returning to a physical existence. Most of them also should be born in other civilizations. You have used a term of kill, it is not correct. It is a very serious problem upon planet Earth because your religions have made it a serious problem in order to control people. We say this to you, a soul that is meant to be born in its proper method will not be extinguished. Those that should not be, in some manner will be not brought forth. There is no death before there is life in the physical world. What is murder in your world? It is the extinguishing of a life that has not yet served its full purpose in the physical. It is not a removal of life, but it is a complication of the process of evolution on Earth. But in reality there is no death. It is wrong to extinguish a life that has not fulfilled its purpose. We mean one that has been brought forth fully to the planet Earth, it has been born. Altia has said that if you want a term, it would be not be past 3.5 of your months. For up to that time the soul has no memory of its being in a cocoon of the womb. Therefore it does not get hurt within. Guest, is there such a thing on this planet as natural or true soulmates? And if so, is there only one true mate, or other half, for each person? Tom, when you speak of soulmates we come into an area that is difficult to explain, for there are those that you have existed within the physical past in other lives that you may have an affinity for, if they pass your path again. But when you speak of a true soulmate, we speak then of a relationship that is made up of two but is in reality one. In that instance you cannot have several possible ones, there is only one. There are those that exist that have integrated as one whole into one being, as in the civilization of Altia there is no male, no female, but only one gender. On your physical planet, because of its situation, it is necessity to be male, or to be female, but you are in essence one. And on the subject of homosexual relationships, Tom, there are very few souls who have come to planet Earth but one time. But those who have come in what you term homosexuality are beings that have lived many existences, and repeated them in one sex identification, then came through in the opposite sex, and have confusion. Each of you must know this, at one time have lived in this situation. Know this, it is the connection, the coming together of male and female energy, which brings oneness with creation. Man has always innately known that power comes from women, and in your heterosexual relations, males who go from one woman to another looking for that connection with the creation, and they do not take time to understand the energy. They only know, in the darkness of the recesses of their mind, that they have this desire, and it overtakes them, and instead of bringing elevation, it degrades their being. As in the case of the religions upon planet Earth, in the beginning people had knowledge, and then men became dogmatic in their attempt to control others. Even though, in the basis of their knowledge, there was truth, it was lost in misuse. You may not wish to hear what we say, but when there is a person that is homosexual, it is a being who has lived as the opposite sex for many lives, repeatedly. What is needed is more understanding of this. For all souls have been of the opposite sex. When you humans understand, then we have a great step forward. Each soul who elevates themselves to understand humankind has lived in this situation. There is a saying in your Christendom that says, "But by the grace of God go I," what it should say is, "But by the grace of what I created go I."